Tonight's top stories. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. assured during his fifth State of the Nation address, or SANA, that the country will continue to protect our territory and sovereignty. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reiterated that his administration remains focused on providing quality education for Filipino students. Lawmakers from both houses of Congress weigh in on the order of the president to amend the Electric Power Industry Reforms Act, or IPIRA law. Fans of super P-pop group SB19 will certainly be ecstatic as their idols have been chosen to be the newest Philippine tourism ambassadors. All these and more on PTV News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. Stand up and hold your head high. This is one of the messages of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for the Filipino people amid security threats, either inside or outside the country. Patrick De Jesus tells us more of the president's message as he reaffirms his unwavering commitment to defending the West Philippine Sea.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines remains ready to carry out its mandate of protecting the West Philippine Sea. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reaffirmed this commitment during his fifth State of the Nation address on Monday and his message to all amid the various challenges related to the West Philippine Sea.
Let me remind our friends and our detractors, Filipinos are a noble, kind, gracious, and great race. We are not greedy, we are not racists, we are not liars. We are respectful and we are dignified. We are Filipinos and we do not yield.
For the AFP, its responsibility is clear.
For the Armed Forces of the Philippines, these are major, more than policy statements. No, they reinforce our mission that we carry out every day.
Just last week, another confrontation occurred at Ayungin Shoal after the China Coast Guard attempted to approach BRP Sierra Madre, leaving 2 Filipino soldiers injured. On consecutive days last week, China Coast Guard vessels also fired water cannons at Philippine Coast Guard and Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources vessels in Scarborough Shoal, also known as Bajo de Masinloc. Despite these acts of harassment and bullying at sea, the AFP remains undeterred.
Despite po yung challenges that we are facing in the West Philippine Sea, our resolve remains unshaken. Our mission has not changed and it will not change. We will continue to stand watch over our seas. We will support our fellow Filipinos who depend on the seas for their livelihood.
As he also commended the AFP, the PCG, and Filipino fisher folk, the President stressed the need for national unity and urged Filipinos not to be intimidated by those he described as oppressors.
Mga kapwa kong Pilipino, sa ganitong mga banta sa ating seguridad, sa loob at sa labas ng bansa, tayo'y tumindig ng taas noo at magkapit-bisig. Dahil tayo man ay magkakaiba sa maraming bagay, iisa lang tayong lahi. Tayong lahat ay Pilipino, Pilipino sa diwa, Pilipino sa dugo.
Meanwhile, based on the Philippine Navy's monitoring from July 21 to 26, a total of 22 China Coast Guard vessels were spotted across different areas of the West Philippine Sea, while 4 others were PLA Navy ships. Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
It would be a hollow, even meaningless State of the Nation speech without a government initiative to raise and uplift the education sector as we know it. Thus, the President announced increased scholarship grants, ramping up technical vocational training, fixing and sprucing up classrooms, and improving security to learners in the event of acts of violence or terror in campuses and classrooms. Our J.M. Thompson has more.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. did not miss the chance to emphasize in his fifth State of the Nation address yesterday the intensification and expansion of priorities when it comes to education in the country. This includes adding scholarship programs, strengthening technical vocational education, continuous construction and repair of classrooms, and security in schools due to several incidents reported this year.
Magtutulungan ang lokal na pamahalaan, ang barangay, PNP, DepEd upang palakasin ang seguridad sa paaralan. Siniguro ng DepEd na nakahanda, gumagana at alam ng lahat ang mga mekanismo at proseso sa pag-ulat, sa pagtugon sa mga insidente ng bullying, pati na sa mga iba't ibang emergency.
The President also emphasized the continuous program of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA for students that will help their future opportunities and livelihood.
Ang TechPro ay nakapaloob na sa senior high at ito'y progresibo o ladderized upang maging tulay sa agarang hanapbuhay at hakbang din tungo sa patuloy na pag-aaral at pagsasanay.
TESDA assures that the agency is coordinating with experts to provide right information to learners that aligns with global standards.
Kung hindi man makapag-kolehiyo pa, magagamit po nila yung national certificate na yon bilang puhunan sa kanilang paghahanap ng trabaho.
According to TESDA, even college graduates who already have diplomas are encouraged to undergo training to expand their skill set and explore other potential career paths.
Hinahanap na ngayon. Alam na ng ating mga employers na mahalaga at katibayan talaga yung national certificate ng kakayanan ng isang nag-a-apply ng trabaho sa kanilang negosyo o sa kanilang operasyon.
The agency also has what they call Test the Skills Passport that will help job applicants as it already contains the skills and training they have undergone.
Para siyang passport nga na nakalagay doon ano ba ang mga pwede mong gawin, ano na ba yung mga natapos mo, or kung meron kang mga certification, ano ba itong mga certification na ito. Para hindi na po bit-bit pa ng isang nag-a-apply sa trabaho yung sangkaterbang mga papeles o dokumento. Pwede niyang i-upload yon sa kanyang account sa Skills Passport, sa Test the Skills Passport.
TESDA assures that they will further intensify programs that will provide equal access to our fellow countrymen to open up even more opportunities and jobs. J.M. Thompson for The Nation.
The country's assumption of the ASEAN chairship this year has yielded significant gains in assuring food security for the nation in event of shortages and filling in the gaps in the country's energy needs amidst a pesky and still raging Middle East conflict, among others. The full report from our Gab Humilde.
The Philippines pushed for stronger solidarity and cooperation among the member states of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN under its chairship this year. In his fifth State of the Nation address, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. emphasized that ASEAN unity has paved the way to more effectively address challenges within and outside the region, including the conflict in the Middle East.
Together, we found ways to alleviate the dire consequences of the war in the Middle East. Through a united ASEAN and its strong extended network, we have achieved greater security and resilience as a region and as individual nations.
According to the President, some of the important outcomes of the Philippines ASEAN chairship include agreements that will strengthen the region's food, digital, and energy security. These include the ASEAN +3 Emergency Rice Reserve System, which will ensure the rice supply in times of production shortages. Also mentioned was the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement or DEFA, which aims to unify rules on digital transactions, promote innovation, and help small businesses. Also included is the Framework Agreement on Petroleum Security, which will allow for the joint stockpiling of petroleum resources to stabilize energy security in the region. The president also proudly noted that due to the full interconnection of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao grid into a single power grid, the Philippines is now more prepared to support the ASEAN power grid. President Marcos also emphasized that ASEAN should further deepen the unity and cooperation of its member states.
Moved by our stark realizations, ASEAN must further strengthen the bonds of our regional cooperation, building on our sense of affiliation and the heightened instinct for mutual assistance.
The president described this cooperation as a form of international bayanihan. He also called on all parties to exercise diplomacy and end violent conflicts as the key to lasting peace.
This is bayanihan for the international community and for this part of the world. And more significantly, we in ASEAN, joined by the entirety of Filipinos who by nature are peace-loving, re-echo our unified appeal for an end to violent conflict. We appeal to all parties for a heightened sense of community, to a return to the table, armed only with a genuine desire for peace and for normalcy. True diplomacy builds, violent conflict only destroys. Peace and order are the foundations of security for our country, for our region, for the world.
Gab Humilde Villegas for The Nation.
In the meantime, Senator Erwin Tulfo wasted no time in paying heed to the president's wishes to provide relief to millions of consumers from high power rates. Today, he filed a resolution to discuss with power suppliers, utility distributors, and electric cooperatives on how to best slash or trim the system loss fee and value-added tax tacked on consumers' bill statements. Likewise, he officially proposed a resolution in canceling the hidden energy charge or tax charge, as our Bernard Ferrer narrates in his report.
Senator Erwin Tulfo has formally filed 2 resolutions seeking to amend the Electric Power Industry Reform Act or EPIRA law. Among the key issues to be addressed are systems laws and the value-added tax or VAT imposed on electricity bills. The filing came a day after President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. called on Congress to amend the EPIRA law to help reduce electricity rates.
Nabanggit ng Pangulo na dapat alisin na po ang systems loss na yan, pati po yung value-added tax dahil talagang pabigat po yan sa mga kababayan natin.
Aside from the 2 resolutions, Tulfo also filed a bill addressing the energy tax.
Pag titignan po ninyo, yung inyong billing, hindi po nakaspecify doon. Pero yun po ay nakatago doon sa government tax. Pag inalis mo natin yon, malaking kabawasan din ho yun. Pag inalisan natin ng energy tax, yung billing natin.
The Senate Committee on Energy is set to resume the hearing on the proposed amendments to the EPIRA law this week. According to Tulfo, the committee will raise issues involving systems laws, VAT, and the energy tax with power generators, distribution utilities, and electric cooperatives.
Initially, I was able to talk to some ERC officials, and they're saying like, medyo malaki-laki rin po ang mababawas. Kasi kung alisan po natin ang VAT po is 12%. Ang systems loss is what, 5 to 10%. Tapos may government tax pa po.
Tulfo is optimistic that the amendments to the EPIRA law will be passed before the end of the 20th Congress or by the end of 2026. The Senate is also waiting for the counterpart bill from the House of Representatives. Aside from the EPIRA law, the Senate will also prioritize the oil deregulation law. Meanwhile, Tulfo also announced that the Senate minority bloc is allegedly attempting to block the Blue Ribbon Committee's investigation into the alleged anomalous flood control projects.
I will not name names po, but the truth of the matter is, and real talk lang po, sila na po ngayon nakikiusap na wag na hutapin ituloy yung Blue Ribbon. And I was saying, kung gano'n, dapat kayo magsabi niyan. I mean, kayo yung inudyok-udyok niyo itong leadership ni Senator Win, pati ako.
He likewise urged the public to immediately report to the Blue Ribbon Committee any information regarding officials who may be involved in corruption. Bernard Ferrer for The Nation.
After nearly a year of taking himself out of the public eye over the flood control scam inquiry, former House Speaker and presidential cousin Martin Romualdez will finally have his day in court. This as the Office of the Ombudsman is putting the finishing touches on its case of plunder against the Leyte lawmaker. Our Rod Lagusad threshes out the Ombudsman's follow-through on the President's much-lauded opening remarks in yesterday's State of the Nation speech.
Dumating na tayo sa punto na ayon sa Ombudsman ay malapit na ang paghain ng patong-patong na kaso labang sa dating Speaker. Masakit man sa akin ito, ngunit kailangan nating gawin ang tama. Hindi ako pangulo ng aking pamilya. Hindi ako pangulo ng aking kaibigan. Ako ay pangulo ng Pilipinas.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. emphasized this point during his fifth State of the Nation address in connection with the issue of the flood control projects. The president said his duty is to serve the Filipino people. He said that nearly 25 billion pesos worth of funds and assets have already been recovered or frozen from the accused. According to Assistant Ombudsman Mico Clavano, this is how accountability should work: no favors asked, no favors granted. The anti-graft body said it remains committed to its mandate of following the evidence wherever it leads, including cases involving those close to the president himself. Clavano added that the Office of the Ombudsman will continue to carry out its mandate with resolve, fairness, and impartiality without fear or favor for as long as the evidence and the law warrant. Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla earlier said that the charges against Romualdez were close to being filed.
We're very close to filing the plunder charges, but we still have to cross the T's and dot some I's and probably put periods in sentences. Yun na lang, ganun kalapit na yan.
In relation to this, the Office of the Ombudsman confirmed that its preliminary investigation team has already directed Romualdez and the other respondents to submit their counter-affidavits. According to Clavano, the respondents have 15 days from receipt of the order to submit their counter-affidavits. He said that once all the parties have filed their submissions, the complaint will be submitted for resolution. Based on the supplemental complaint filed by the Office of the Ombudsman's Special Panel of Investigators against Romualdez, former Ako Bicol Representative Saldico and others, they face charges of plunder, direct and indirect bribery, graft, and money laundering. This stem from an alleged conspiracy to amass 56 billion pesos from 2022 to 2025 through a series of interrelated transactions, including the alleged diversion and misuse of public funds. Following the initial complaint, the panel said it obtained additional documentary and testimonial evidence that allegedly supports the delivery of money to Romualdez. The panel also said the evidence indicates that a significant portion of the money allegedly delivered came from commitments linked to government projects. Aside from Romualdez, several personalities are currently under detention in connection with cases arising from the flood control projects issue. Among them is former Senator Bong Revilla, who is facing malversation and graft charges in connection with the alleged ghost flood control project in Pandi, Bulacan, and Senator Jinggoy Estrada, who is facing plunder and graft charges over the alleged flood control project scandal. Also facing charges are contractor couple Sara and Curly Discaya, as well as officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways in Mimaropa, Davao Occidental, and the Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office. Days before the SONA, 14 counts of grabs were filed against Uswag Ilonggo Party List Representative Jojo Ang. Ang is the first incumbent member of the House of Representatives to be charged in connection with the flood control projects issue. The case stemmed from a contract entered into by a company with a DPWH in which Ang allegedly holds 500 shares of stock. The Office of the Ombudsman continued its investigation into other individuals allegedly involved in the flood control projects issue. Rod Lagusad for The Nation.
Lawmakers in both the Senate and the House of Representatives have expressed strong support for President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s call to remove system loss charges from electricity bills, which signals a unified effort for passing legislative reforms and addressing the rising cost of energy. Val Custodio tells us more in this report.
Kung pagbawas ng presyo ang usapan, sa aking palagay, panahon na para tanggalin na natin ang systems loss na pinapasa sa consumer.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. received the longest applause, cheers, and standing ovation after making that statement during his fifth State of the Nation address or SONA yesterday. According to Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri, he was among those who stood to applaud the president's directive to remove the system's loss charge as well as related taxes from the consumers' electricity bills.
Pag tinignan niyo po yung electric bill, makikita niyo ang laki ng charge mo na systems loss. Pag tinanggal yan, malaking diskwento po yan. As Majority Floor Leader, I guarantee you, we'll get the best and brightest on top of it. Yung chairman namin ng Committee on Energy, ang magsusponsor po niyan at ipapasa namin sa lalong madaling panahon.
Members of the House of Representatives also expressed support for passing legislation to implement the president's proposal.
Lahat tayo ay nagbabayad ng ating electric bill. Tama naman din talaga na panahon na para tanggalin yung system loss na ipatong sa mga consumers, no? Silang magbabayad nito.
In line with this, lawmakers also agreed that the Electric Power Industry Reform Act or EPIRA law should be amended.
Definitely magkakaroon ng review talaga ng EPIRA law, and I think it's high time kasi pare-parehas lang dumadaing lahat ng Pilipino, most especially electric bill. Kapag hindi natin na-address itong energy generation, energy distribution, there is no way by which we can address the increasing cost of electricity.
Tignan na rin yung iba pang aspeto ng pila para maamyendahan ito o di kaya ay palitan ng isang bagong batas tungkol sa energy.
In an official statement, House Speaker Faustino Boji III said the President's SONA will serve as Congress' guide in deliberating on measures aimed at easing the burden of Filipinos, including proposals to reduce taxes and lower electricity rates. These said, the House is ready to prioritize measures that will expand the income tax exemption for workers earning up to 350,000 pesos a year, reducing income taxes for other employees, provide relief to small businesses by exempting them from minimum corporate income tax, and implement a tax amnesty covering certain unpaid taxes and related penalties. Meanwhile, lawmakers also voiced their support for the President's stand on the West Philippine Sea.
Tumayo din ako nung sinabi niya na ang dignidad ng ating bansa ay hindi dapat may sakondisyon, hindi tayo rasista, hindi mo tayo unggoy. Hindi ka nga ang sinabi niya. Ako ay natutuwa nung binanggit po niya yan. At itinayo na ang dangal ng ating bayan.
Magkaisa tayo na kinakailangan ang Pilipino taas noo. Huwag tayong papayag na niyurirakan ang ating dangal.
Vel Custodio for the Nation.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. highlighted the government's commitment to improving public health access during his fifth State of the Nation address, where he outlined new healthcare initiatives, starting with the expansion of the YAKA program set for next year, with increase in diagnostic tests and medication access for conditions like liver and thyroid diseases, kidney ailments, and hepatitis B. The president noted that over 2,000 essential medicines are now VAT exempt, resulting in lower pharmacy prices, including treatments for cancer, hypertension, diabetes, and mental health. To help families manage rising medical costs, expanded benefit limits for critical conditions such as cancer, heart disease, HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis was also discussed in the address. PhilHealth will also double packages for children with developmental disabilities, increasing covered therapy sessions from 90 to 150. The chief executive also underscored the role of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, in strengthening social protection for families with children having developmental disabilities. The DSWD's Project Aruga will provide additional financial assistance to beneficiaries, complementing the services provided by PhilHealth. The Department of Justice, or DOJ, has approved the filing of multiple criminal charges against the so-called 18 bagmen and lawyer Levito Baligod, allowing the cases to proceed before the courts. Under the DOJ resolution, the 18 bagmen will face 10 separate complaints, including 6 counts of cyber libel and 4 counts of perjury related to their earlier statements in press briefings, media interviews, social media posts, and other platforms. Meanwhile, Attorney Baligod will face 4 counts of cyber libel, 3 jointly with the 18 bagmen and 1 in his individual capacity. No perjury charge was recommended against him. These complaints were filed by former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, Leila de Lima, Gregorio Pio Catapang Jr., Eduardo Año, and Flaviano Lopez Villanueva. The complaint filed by Villanueva, however, was dismissed. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, is pushing for the declaration of marine protected areas in the Kalayaan Island Group in the West Philippine Sea. This proposal is based on nearly a decade of scientific research conducted by Filipino scientists in the area, highlighting the importance of safeguarding newly discovered species and ensuring the nation's long-term food security. During a symposium held today, DENR Secretary Juan Miguel Cuna stated that true sovereignty is built on active stewardship, noting the duty to mobilize citizens to conserve and manage marine resources for future generations. In his State of the Nation speech yesterday, the president yet anew made a pitch for the construction of the Pax Silica Hub project in New Clark City in Capas, Tarlac, which when completed and running will be the advanced manufacturing and logistics center in the global AI setup and a critical piece in the technology value and supply chain. Per BCDA due diligence, the hub will sit on a sprawling 1,600-hectare complex and eventually generate 200,000 jobs and 180 billion pesos in revenue. For its part, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources says it will strictly ensure the project complies full well with all safety and environmental rules and regulations. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment is in full support of the President's entreaty to Congress to increase the income tax exemption cap to 350,000 pesos. Department of Labor and Employment head honcho Francis Tolentino, for his part, is in full support of the project, which expressed full confidence of its viability and positive impact in helping workers have more money saved from what they earn. For its successful implementation, DOLE Chief Tolentino says amending the National Internal Revenue Code is imperative. By doing so, middle-class earners or workers can set aside more from their take-home pay for savings. In the meantime, the motorcycle industry in the country has recorded a 3.6% growth in the first half of 2026, with sales reaching 939,528 units. This according to the Motorcycle Development Program Participants Association Incorporated, or MDPPA. Despite a 4% decline in the second quarter, the 11% growth and strong performance in the opening quarter helped maintain the industry's positive momentum. Automatic motorcycles led the market, accounting for 70% of total sales, followed by business use units for delivery services and mopeds or underbone motorcycles. The Philippines remains the third largest market within the Federation of Asian Motorcycle Industries, or FAMI, trailing Indonesia and Vietnam. The government has lifted the moratorium on the expansion of information technology economic zones in the National Capital Region to boost the country's digital economy. The Department of Trade and Industry said the policy change will strengthen the Philippines' position as a leading global destination for digital services. Officials said the move responds to long-standing demand from investors seeking to establish more office spaces for technology-based companies in Metro Manila. The previous ban on new IT economic zones in the capital was implemented to encourage investments in the provinces, but authorities said many investors still prefer Metro Manila. The DTI said the reform is expected to create more high-quality jobs, attract foreign investments, and support economic growth across the country. And we'll have more news after these reminders. Stay with us.
Nawa ay sa kanyang pagtatanggol sa kanyang sarili ay buong katapatan niyang ilalabas ang katotohanan ayon sa kanyang konsensya.
The Cine Bata Video Festival is calling for submission of video entries for, by, and with children. Submit videos with the theme, Hear My Voice. Deadline for submission of entries is on July 31, 2026. For details, visit or contact the following.
Maraming kababayan natin ang umasa sa pampublikong sasakyan. Kaya't pinagtutuunan natin ng mabuti ang ating mga tren, mga busway, transport hub at integrated terminal at ang pagpapaganda at pagpapalawak ng mga paliparan at pantalan sa buong bansa. Sa susunod na taon, ang mga tren ng North-South Commuter Railway ay tatakbo na sa pagitan ng Valenzuela at Malolos. Sisikapin ng DOTR na sa pagtapos ng administrasyong ito, tapos na rin ang railway hanggang sa Clark. Sa susunod na taon, bubuksan na rin ang 12 stasyon ng MRT-7. Matapos ang halos 3 dekada, may bago ng linya ang MRT na tutulak pa hanggang Sacred Heart sa Quezon City mula sa North Avenue. At balang araw, aabot pa ito hanggang San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. Sadyang napakalaking ginhawa nito sa halos 1 milyon na pasahero bawat araw.
For our next food crawl,
gusto ko talaga may suntok ng kape. O, dito tayo.
tara na sa another Chibugan. Kasama ang certified foodie na si Leslie Ordinario.
In fairness, hindi matamis at hindi lasang powder.
Ngayong linggo, alas 10 ng umaga.
Hindi naman ako high blood eh. Kakapacheck ko lang po. Okay naman po yung cholesterol ko.
Dito lang sa PTV. PTV Consumer Watch. Bantay presyo sa gasolina.
Ang sektor ng transportasyon ang pinakamatinding tinamaan ng epekto ng krisis. Ngunit hindi natin kayang hayaan tumigil o maantala ito dahil ito ang nagsisilbing piston ng ating ekonomiya. Ang mga tsuper ay natulungan ng cash relief mula sa ating programang AX. Mayroon din 10 piso kada litro na diesel subsidy para sa mga pampasaherong jeepney at UB Express upang may dagdag na pangkarga. Para naman sa mga pasahero, nagkaroon ng mga libreng sakay kung saan sinigundahan pa ng ilang mga ahensya ng pamahalaan gamit ang kanilang mga sasakyan. At para lalo pang makatulong ng sabay sa tsuper at pasahero, binuhay natin ang service contracting program para bus at ang ating mga jeep.
The Philippines has reaffirmed its commitment to deepening bilateral ties with the government strengthening maritime cooperation and seafarer protections with Panama, while simultaneously advancing trade, investment, and tourism partnerships with Oman. Gab Villegas tells us more.
The Philippines and Panama reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen ties following the visit to the country by Panamanian Foreign Minister Javier Martinez Acha Vasquez. During the bilateral meeting, they discussed expanding cooperation in maritime education, training and capacity building, alongside strengthening protections for seafarers amid evolving geopolitical tensions. Currently, over 100,000 Filipinos work on Panamanian flag vessels. Both sides also signed a memorandum of understanding to exchange best practices in diplomacy and international affairs. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro and Omani Foreign Minister Sayed Badr bin Hamad bin Hamoud Al Busaidi met on the sidelines of the 3rd Philippines-Oman Investment Forum. They discussed expanding cooperation in trade, investment, finance, tourism, and education. Both sides also pushing for the immediate conclusion of agreements on investment and double taxation to strengthen economic ties. The Philippines also thanked Oman for removing the visa requirement for Filipino tourists, while both countries expressed hope that trade and investment will continue to grow. Gab Humilde Villegas for The Nation.
Senator Vicente Soto III has expressed support for 13 proposed measures aimed at expanding access to health care through the construction of new provincial hospitals and the upgrading of existing facilities. During Senate committee hearing, Soto asked to be included as a co-sponsor of the bill, saying they would help strengthen the country's healthcare system. The proposals include the establishment of new hospitals in several provinces and the renationalization of select hospitals under the Department of Health. Lawmakers said the measures are expected to improve access to medical services and address the growing demand for quality health care across the country. A manufacturing plant in Misamis Oriental churning out substandard steel and other metallic alloy products was padlocked for good after a raid by a crack group of soldiers from the Philippine Army's 4th Infantry Division based in Patag, Cagayan de Oro City. Not only were the steel products defective, but had traces of radioactivity in its composition. Our Patrick De Souza has more on the plant shutdown the defense minister claims is an issue on defending sovereignty in law enforcement.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, forcibly halted the operations of Chuangxing Steel Incorporated, a company reportedly manufacturing substandard steel bars that tested positive for radioactive materials. This past March, authorities first received an intelligence report from their informants. During surveillance operations, it was also discovered that hundreds of Filipino workers were allegedly made to work at the company without sufficient personal protective equipment.
May 10 po na nagmanifest ng symptoms ng radiological exposure. However, the confirmation would only come out once the cytogenetic examination has been concluded by the Department of Health and the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute.
The company is also being linked to the alleged illegal melting of coins, an activity that not only causes pollution and health hazards, but also violates the law.
These findings raise serious concern involving our national currency, economic security, and the possible misuse of undeclared industrial capabilities.
During the operation, at least 300 Filipino workers and 37 Chinese nationals were rescued from allegedly hazardous working conditions. The NBI has recommended filing multiple charges against 12 company officials for allegedly violating several laws, including the Philippine National Nuclear Energy Safety Act, the Toxic Substances and Hazardous and Nuclear Wastes Control Act, the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System, the Clean Air Act, and the Consumer Act of the Philippines. Meanwhile, 4 individuals were arrested during the execution of search warrants by authorities.
This will also set a warning doon sa mga nagninegosyo spending billions of money without following the standards na sinet natin. And we in the law enforcement, ang NBI kasama ang PAOK in coordination with all other agencies, will go after all the manufacturers of steel bars na alam namin na nagbabiolate.
The NBI may also summon contractors of the collapsed building in Angeles City, Pampanga to explain the discovered use of the alleged substandard materials and radioactive positive steel, materials linked to the said steel company that are also believed to pose a health risk. Sheila Natividad for The Nation.
Special Operations agents from the PNP Region 4A and Regional Intelligence Division foiled a skimming or fuel siphoning attempt. A notorious band of swipers in Lucena City, where they seized truck distribution tankers, propane cylinders, siphon hoses, and 16 million pesos in petroleum products. Our Rocky Lisigas tells us more.
Operatives from the Regional Special Operations Unit of the Police Regional Office 4A and the Regional Intelligence Division 4A caught this man in the act of allegedly stealing fuel from a compound in Barangay Silangang Mayaw, Lucena City, Quezon. Authorities said the suspects used pumps to siphon various petroleum products into smaller containers. They allegedly sold the stolen fuel at lower prices.
Well, meron tayong information na may grupo na nagsasagawa ng tinatawag na paihi ng illegal na petroleum products at patingaw ng mga liquefied petroleum gas. So, minanmanan ito ng mga tropa natin sa Regional Intelligence Division, ARSOG, at ginamitan din natin ito ng drone operation. At nakita natin yung compound magdamag at maghapon nilang binantayan bago nakita na may pumapasok nga ng mga tanker doon sa isang compound sa Lucena City. Pero ito ay nagmula sa Sariaya, Quezon.
According to the Philippine National Police or PNP, more than 16 million worth of petroleum products, LPG, and vehicles were seized during the operation. Among the items confiscated were 3 tanker trucks, 3 trucks carrying 10,000 liters of LPG and thousands of liters of diesel. Operatives also recovered nearly 300 LPG cylinders, chemicals, hydraulic hoses, diesel water pumps, and other equipment allegedly used in the illegal operation. 13 suspects were arrested during the raid.
Apparently, yan ay nanggaling doon sa depo ng Sariaya, Quezon. At ito ay kanilang ibinabagsak o hinahatid sa mga small players na nagbebenta ng mga petroleum products.
The suspects will face charges for violation of Presidential Decree No. 1865 or the Oil Pilferage Law and Republic Act No. 11592 or the LPG Industry Regulation Act. PNP Chief Police General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. has directed police units to further strengthen intelligence operations and law enforcement efforts against oil pilferage. Ryan Lisigas for The Nation.
Benguet State University will officially launch its Doctor of Medicine program in the first semester of school year 2026-2027 to help address the country's shortage of healthcare professionals. The program supports President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s call to strengthen the healthcare sector through medical scholarships under the Doctors to the Barrios program. The provincial government of Benguet has allocated scholarship slots, while the university has opened one section for up to 50 students and prepared temporary facilities for the program. Meanwhile, the Commission on Higher Education is studying additional support for future medical students and the possible expansion of the program to Kalinga State University. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reiterated his administration's commitment to the peace process in the Bangsamoro region during his 5th State of the Nation address. He stressed the importance of the first regular BARM parliamentary elections on September 14, 2026, saying a peaceful, free, and credible poll is vital to sustaining peace and strengthening democratic governance. The Mindanao Development Authority described the elections as a major step in implementing the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro and advancing self-governance in the region. Meanwhile, the residents and officials in the Bangsamoro region expressed appreciation for the administration's continued support, hoping it will further promote peace, development, and improved livelihoods. Sports and more after this short break. Stay with us.
Makibahagi sa iba't ibang kwento ng mga Pilipino.
Dagdag pa napasanin ni Mang Carlo ang kanyang gamot o maintenance na halos mahigit 20,000 piso.
Lagi ako nagdadasal na sa bawat entabladong sasampahan ko, huwag niya akong pababayaan.
Makinig sa iba't ibang boses at pananaw
na hindi patas ang lipunan.
Leadership starts from the top.
Maging bukas sa iba't ibang perspektiba sa mga isyong pambayan.
Good governance, because good governance is a matter of right.
Tataka ang karamihan, paano nila nakukuha yung mga numbers?
Kanino ba talaga nag-umpisa yung mga problema na yan sa flood control projects?
At matuto sa iba't ibang karanasan.
Yung hirap talaga yung pag tumaas ang dagat. Yun ang hirap sa mga bata.
Ito ang mga premyado at award-winning na programa ng PTV Public Affairs. Kabahagi sa bawat buhay at kwento ng Pilipino. Ang ating mga programa are now among Asia's best. Nominado ang Schoolmates bilang Best Current Affairs Program Made in Asia for a Single Market in Asia at ang PTV Sports bilang Best Sports Magazine Program Made in Asia sa Content Asia Awards 2026 sa pagbibigay boses at inspirasyon sa kabataan at sa atletang Pilipino. Kayo ay aming ipinagmamalaki.
Home is where your health journey begins. Huwag palampasin ang weekly health advice mula sa mga eksperto. Masasarap at masusustansyang recipe. Guided exercises to boost your fitness levels. Tips to keep our fur babies happy and healthy. At iba-ibang fun activities na perfect pang-bonding ng buong pamilya. Ito po si Nina Corpus. Samahan niyo kami tuwing Sabado alas 7 ng umaga para sa simula ng healthier and happier lifestyle ng buong pamilya. Health at Home. Dito lang sa inyong People's Television.
Disaster Watch. Alamin ang mga dapat ilagay sa go bag bilang paghahanda sa sakuna. Maglagay ng tubig na maiinom at mga pagkaing hindi madaling masira. Maglaan ng espasyo para sa first aid kit at survival kit para sa mga hindi inaasahang pangyayari. Huwag kalimutan ang toiletries para mapanatili ang kalinisan ng katawan. Samahan din ng mga damit at beddings na magtatagal ng ilang araw. At para ligtas at may alam, magdala ng mga teknikal na gamit. Sa panahon ng kalamidad, dapat laging listo.
The House of Representatives is fast-tracking the passage of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s proposed tax relief package, aiming for its approval by August to allow its implementation at the start of 2027. The measure seeks to expand income tax exemptions, provide additional relief to workers and small businesses, while ensuring the government's revenue targets remain on track through corresponding tax reforms. Val Custodio in this report.
The House of Representatives is targeting the approval of the proposed tax relief package by August to ensure its implementation on January 1, 2027. This follows President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s appeal to Congress to expand the income tax exemption to cover workers earning up to 350,000 pesos yearly.
So nagdidesisyon ng Pangulo dito na effectively parang binibigyan ang ordinaryong mga manggagawa at pati ang middle class employees ng isang wage increase. Lumalaki ang kanilang net take-home pay pero hindi natin ito ipinapataw o inililipat ang burden sa mga employers.
According to House Committee on Ways and Means Chairperson Representative Miro Kimbo, the House aims to approve the President's proposed tax relief package on third and final reading within August, along with the corresponding revenue measures that will offset the expected loss in government revenues.
Ang tansya ho namin dito, base sa informal discussions with si Speaker Bogie D at saka kay Majority Leader Sandro, is ngayong Agosto tatapusin namin itong compensation as well as yung corresponding compensating taxes na ating gagamitin o i-impose or i-adjust para mabawi yung mawawalang pera because of the revenue loss na mangyayari dito.
The proposal also includes lower income tax for other workers, an exemption for small businesses from the minimum corporate income tax, and tax amnesty covering unpaid income tax, estate tax, donors tax, value-added tax or VAT, as well as related penalties. Kimbo explained that the proposed increase in income tax exemption will take effect only on January next year, since the government's tax collection targets and expenditure program for 2026 have already been set under the current tax structure.
Effectivity nito is January 1. Tiyak ako it cannot be earlier because masyadong mahirap para i-unwind. Today, ang computation ng BAR, pati ang ating budget, ay dependent doon sa tax collection as computed on an annual basis.
The House is also targeting third reading approval of the proposed tax amnesty before its October break. The measure covers unpaid income tax, estate tax, VAT, and other tax liabilities. Lawmakers are also studying possible tax increases on heated tobacco products, noting that some of these products remain lightly taxed or untaxed compared with those in other countries. The House is also considering expanding the coverage of tax on sugar-sweetened beverages to include more products associated with the rising incidence of diabetes. Congress is also studying the possibility of imposing broader taxes on single-use plastic products, particularly sachets, to help reduce plastic pollution and flooding caused by clogged waterways. Vel Custodio for The Nation.
And we'll now give you the latest buzz here at Pop Culture Corner. First up, SB19 has officially been appointed as the Philippines' newest tourism ambassador, recognized for promoting Filipino culture to a global audience. The Tourism Department announced the appointment and presented the group with a Ngayon Bayan box as a symbolic send-off while they continue their activities in the United States. The group said they hope to inspire international fans to visit the Philippines, experience its rich culture, and strengthen their connection to the country. The appointment comes ahead of SB19's historic performances at the Lollapalooza and Summer Sonic music festivals. In the meantime, Singapore-based Filipino artist Thea Madrideo has released her debut extended play in Moments of Stillness under her recording project Blue. The 5-track EP explores themes of grief, rage, and self-rediscovery, with all songs written by Madrideo. The artist said the songs reflect honest and unfiltered emotions, capturing feelings that are often difficult to express. The project was created in collaboration with Manila-based musicians and producers and is now available on major streaming platforms worldwide. Double Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yula expressed hope for continued government support for Philippine sports after attending President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s 5th State of Nation address. Double Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yula was among the guests at the House of Representatives during the 5th State of Nation address of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday. In a Facebook post following the SONA, Yula said he was pleased that the president highlighted the importance of sports and reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting Filipino athletes. In his address, President Marcos Jr. emphasized that the government will continue to strengthen its support for sports, not only to help the country succeed in international competitions, but also to encourage more Filipinos, especially the youth, to lead active lifestyles through sports. Yul made history at the Paris Olympics as the first Filipino to win 2 gold medals in a single Olympiad, making him one of the country's greatest symbols of sporting excellence. The Olympic champion said he believes that with the continued support of the government and the public, More young Filipinos will be inspired to pursue sports and represent the country on the international stage. Filipino tennis star Alex Ayala has returned to her career-high world number 28 ranking in the latest Women's Tennis Association or WTA rankings. Alex Ayala climbed back to a career-high world number 28 in the latest WTA rankings released on Monday. The Filipino tennis star moved up one spot following changes inside the top 30, including Leylah Fernandez's drop from world number 25 to number 34. The shift also benefited Maya Linska, Madison Keys, and Elise Mertens. Ayala matched her career best ranking after her breakthrough Wimbledon campaign, where she first reached world number 28. Following her latest ranking milestone, Ayala is set to begin her campaign at the Mubadala DC Open, where she will face Olympic champion Jung Chin Hoon in the opening round. And our food for thought tonight comes from Hermann Hesse, a German-Swiss novelist, poet, and Nobel Prize winner who explored self-discovery, resilience, and the search for meaning in works such as Siddhartha and Stephen Wolfe. And he once said, "Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go." And before we end our newscast, please take the time to like, subscribe, or share PTV social media pages flashing on your screen right now. It would go a long way and you would truly appreciate it. And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Jay Esteban. Join us again tomorrow on PTV News Tonight.